What's up everyone, Darcblade here with another Hunter's Guide to Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. In this video I'm going to be bringing you an endgame build, this time for the light bowgun. Now as always, what is an endgame build? Well, it's a build that is constructed from some of the rarest armor, weaponry and decorations in the game. They also feature talismans and Qurio crafting, but it's not to the extent where the Qurio crafting is unobtainable. Also, if you find these videos helpful or enjoyable, please consider leaving a like on the video as well as subscribing to the channel, as I try to bring you a variety of builds for a variety of different playstyles. Now when it comes to the light bowgun, it's a very efficient weapon in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, able to take on most hunts quite effectively and, in all honesty, quite easily, so long as you're specialising in a specific ammo type and not spreading yourself too thin. By trying to specialise in all of them, you can craft builds that are quite powerful. With this endgame light bowgun build, I'm going to be showing off a build around the rapid fire spread ammunition type, so I'd call it the spread light bowgun build. This means as we're using spread ammunition, we have to get quite close to monsters, but in return, the damage output is quite high. So for the spread light bowgun build, you'll need the following. First of all, you'll need the Rogi Helm X, the Omnio Kariginu, the Omnio Tiku, the Omnio Ateobi, and the Flaming Espinas Hills. For your Petalace, go with either the Demon Petalace if you want some extra damage, or Absolute Petalace if you want some extra health and survivability. As for your talisman, try to get a talisman that has as much attack boost on it as possible. Extra decoration slots are also desired. As for the weapon, I'm using the Rosensagen, which is the Espinas light bowgun. This has a long barrel custom mod attached to it, and for the Qurio crafting, I've simply gone for an attack boost augmentation. As for the actual rampage skills on the weapon, go with one of the anti-species decorations. So when it comes to the decorations, you've got a fair few to play around with. So I've gone for quick load jaws to give us a point in the quick load skill. You don't actually need to invest too much quick load points into this build, as the Espinas light bowgun, when it comes to rapid fire spread ammo, is quite favourable and already has low recoil and quick reload speed. I've then gone for spread jaws to max out spread up, cornerstone jaws to max out the defiance skill, attack jaws to max out attack boost, tenderizer jaws to max out weakness exploit, and then critical jaws to max out crit boost. So if you've done what I've done here, you'll have a build with a raw attack of 442 with a affinity rating of 10%, which can be potentially 75% when you take into account both weakness exploit and the agitator skill. You'll also have a decent defense of 822 that is strong against fire and dragon, neutral to thunder, but unfortunately weak to ice and water. As for the switch skills, I personally say these are down to personal preference when it comes to the light bowgun. Although if you want to use critical firepower, you may have to invest a few more points into reload speed and recoil down. Now as for the skills, first of all you'll have attack boost at level 7, increasing the raw attack of this build, and at level 4 or above grants us a percentage bonus to our raw attack. You'll also have agitator at level 5, which is a buff that kicks in whenever a monster becomes enraged. When this happens, you'll gain bonus raw attack, and on top of that you'll gain bonus base affinity. You'll also have defiance at level 5, which is a useful skill that again kicks in whenever a monster becomes enraged. When this happens, we'll gain increased defense, and on top of that, we'll gain immunity to monster roars, tremors, and wind effects. You'll then have critical boost at level 3, increasing the damage of our critical attacks, but only applies to the raw portion of an attack, not the elemental or element portion, but this is a raw attack build, so critical boost is definitely effective. You'll then have weakness exploit at level 3, which is a skill that whenever we're attacking monster weak points, will gain increased affinity. This can be up to 50% with weakness exploit at level 3. You'll then have Stamina Surge at level 3, which is kind of a byproduct of the armor we're using in all honesty, but it increases how quickly we get our stamina back. You'll then have Spread Up at level 3, increasing the damage of spread ammunition. Now you can use different light bowguns with this build in all honesty, but if you do, remember to swap out the Spread Up to match whatever new ammo type you are using. So say you were using a rapid fire piercing light bowgun, you'd replace spread up with pierce up by swapping out the spread jaws for piercing jaws. Anyway, you'll then have rapid fire up at level 3, increasing the damage of rapid fire ammunition. You'll then have embolden at level 3, which is a skill that basically makes a monster become enraged more easily. But when a monster does become enraged, we'll gain another bonus to our defense, and will gain increased invincibility frames when dodging. So Embolden combined with Agitator and Defiance, they all synergize well with one another, granting us bonus protection and offense when a monster is at its most deadly. Anyway, you'll then have Burst at level 3, formerly known as Chain Crit, when you're attacking a monster, after multiple hits you'll start to gain increased raw attack and elemental attack. You'll then have Reload Speed at level 1. We only needed this at level 1 because, like I said, the Espinas light bowgun already has a quick reload speed when it comes to spread ammo, but if you were using a different ammo type you may need to consider investing more points into reload speed. You then have Evade Extender at level 1, a useful quality of life skill that I'd strongly recommend on the light bowgun build that extends the distance at which we evade, dodge and hop. You then have Poison Resistance at level 1, a result of our Qurio crafting that slightly reduces the amount of ticks poison damage does to our hunter. You'll then have Adrenaline Rush at level 1, which is a skill that whenever we successfully dodge a monster's attack at the right time, we'll gain increased raw attack. You'll then have Spirit Bird Call at level 1, which is a useful quality of life skill that allows random spirit birds to come to our hunter. This occurs at fixed intervals, but reduces the need for our hunter to go out of the way to find spirit birds as they'll eventually come to us. However, this doesn't apply to arena quests. And then finally you have Intrepid Heart at level 1. Intrepid Heart is a skill that gives us a blue bar above our health bar. This will fill up as we deal damage to a monster. When it's full, should we take a hit from a monster that would knock us back, the damage is negated and reduced, and the damage reaction is ignored. A great little survival tool for any build. So those are all the major skills for the Spread Light Bowgun build. Let's quickly move on to the next section where we talk about the Qurio crafting. Now when it comes to Qurio crafting, as I've said many times, I try not to show these builds off featuring all the rarest possible Qurio crafting in the game, but Qurio crafting is an endgame feature and these are endgame builds. Most of the time I try to go for decoration upgrades or additional decoration slots to allow more customization with our builds. So for the Rogi Helm X, I've got an additional point in the rapid fire skill. For the Omnio Kariginu, I've got a tier 4 decoration slot upgrade, a tier 3 decoration slot upgrade and a point in the poison resistance skill. For the Omnio Teku, I've got a point in attack boost. For the Omnio Aterbe, I've got a point in the Defiance skill. And for the Flaming Espinas Heals, I've got a point in the Spirit Bird Core skill, as well as a tier 2 decoration slot upgrade and an additional tier 1 decoration slot. But every build out there comes with various pros and cons. No build is absolutely perfect. Even these endgame builds, while they may be strong and powerful, they do have downsides. When it comes to this light bowgun spread build, its biggest pro is its damage output. Able to dish out a lot of damage so long as you're close to monsters. On top of that, this build also has skills that synergize well with one another. Defiance and Agitator coupled with the Embolden skill means that when a monster is at its most deadly, our hunter will also be the same. And then finally for the pros is that this build can be used against any monster. This is because it's a raw attack build, so we don't have to worry about a monster's elemental or element resistances. But of course there are cons. One of the biggest cons for this build is, unfortunately, as with many bowgun builds, both for heavy and light bowguns, you're going to have to craft ammo during the middle of a hunt via the radial menu. And the other con is, unfortunately, as this is a spread build, it means that we have to get quite close to a monster, which is always risky when you're using a light bowgun. But so long as you're on the ball, thanks to skills like Evade Extender, this shouldn't matter too much. And ultimately, it will give you a build that is incredibly strong and fun to play for the light bowgun, that can take on the majority of tasks in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. But what are your thoughts? Please leave a comment down below. And until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you another endgame build, this time for the light bowgun in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.